Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this post-match press conference for game number 11, Germany versus Cameroon. We have head coach of Team Cameroon, Hugo, for this post-match press conference. Maybe, coach, some few remarks about how that game went from your side.
Avant tout, et avant de parler du match,
well, first of all, and before I talk about the match, I would like to come back to the declaration that I made this afternoon for CNN. There has been a misunderstanding. This is very clear. I was asked the question about anti-doping tests that would have been taken. And during the conversation, I thought I understood that we were doing anti-doping tests, our own anti-doping tests, and we said no, that we did not have anti-doping tests. Of course, it is obvious that FIFA did anti-doping tests in Madrid well before the Confederations Cup, so they came in the morning and they did a test on all the players, and of course after each game 2 players are selected for anti-doping tests. So from that point of view, it is a misunderstanding on my part. Certainly I misunderstood the question, and I do hope now that everybody will understand that this problem is solved and that we'll understand what I wanted to say. I'm not saying that there have not been any anti-doping tests being made here in the Confederations Cup or before the tournament, because once again it was the case with us in Madrid 4 days before the start of this tournament. Now we can talk about the match.
Okay, as a reminder, just raise your hand, wait for the microphone. We have our interpretation in 4 languages, that is Russian, English, German and French. Speak in the microphone, just give your name and remind as well in which language you'll ask your question. So.
Bonjour, je suis David Eyenge.
Hello, I'm David Eyenge, and I work for a daily newspaper in Cameroon. I would ask my question in French for Mr. Hugo. Coach, we haven't had the opportunity to meet the referees of this match, and I would like you to tell us what the referee told you to explain the scene when there was a total confusion. When first of all Siani was sent off, and then the referee came back to send off Mabuka. What happened? Did the referee give you an explanation? The whole world wants to know, because there was total confusion. Who asked for the video refereeing? We would like to know. First of all, I really don't know how to answer this question, because the referee did not give any explanation. First of all, as you say, he gave a red card to Siani, so I think that people from the video refereeing called him back and said, you gave the red card to the wrong player, and I think that they must have reviewed that phase of the game and realized that it was Mabuka, and Mabuka received a yellow card, and I think that in that particular case, both players had their foot very high, the German player and the Cameroon player. So I don't see why the referee had to give a red card to my player. It's a foul, fair enough, but both players had their leg high up to reach the ball. Both of them were trying to reach for the ball with a high leg. I don't understand why only my player received a red card.
Fernando Valeca de Barros, Metro Brésil. D'ici un an, la Coupe du Monde.
The World Cup will be in 1 year's time, and you have just had a very bad tournament, a very bad competition. What lessons do you draw from this tournament, and how can you improve the level of the Cameroon player?
C'est ce qui s'est passé ici.
Well, what happened here?
Donc, c'est pas vraiment une surprise pour moi.
I must say that
J'ai toujours
I was
dit
expecting
après la
it.
CAN
It's not a surprise
qu'on
for me.
a
I
un des
always
meilleures équipes
said
en
that
Afrique.
after the Africa Cup of
Mais
Nations,
il y a
we
encore une
are one of the
différence
best
avec le
teams in
football
Africa.
moderne.
But
Et
there
on
is
a
still a
eu, je pense,
difference
ici la
between us
preuve
and modern
qu'à ce
football.
niveau-là, on a
And
encore
in
beaucoup de
this
travail. Mais c'est
competition,
pas une
we saw
question
the proof that a lot of
directement
work still
de...
needs to
Oui,
be
c'est une
done.
question de qualité, mais c'est surtout une question de
It is,
formation.
of course, a quality
Et
issue,
quand
but
je
it's
prends, par
mostly a
exemple,
training issue.
cette équipe allemande qui, à un certain moment,
If you take the
n'était même
German
plus,
team,
ou
for
faisait même plus
example,
des grands
which
exploits à des Coupes du Monde
was
ou
not
des Coupes d'Europe,
even
ils ont
playing so
changé leur
well
formation.
in
Et alors
European
là,
Cups
vous
or in
avez,
World Cups. They
après quelques
changed their
années, vous
training
avez vu des
methods.
joueurs que
And after a
normalement
few years, you
ne sont pas
started to see
vraiment
players
le joueur
who
type allemand.
would
Maintenant, vous
not
avez des joueurs qui
necessarily
sont
be a
techniquement forts,
typical German
qui
players,
sont
but
vite, qui
now
sont
you have
explosifs.
technically
Avant, vous
strong
aviez un
players
joueur
who are
allemand qui courait
fast
beaucoup
or explosive.
et qui avait
Before,
beaucoup de
you
force.
used to have
Donc, ils ont
German
changé la
players
formation. Je pense
who
que là,
ran
il y
a
a beaucoup
lot
de travail à
and who
faire
were
au
very strong. So
Cameroun.
the training
On
was
vit encore un
changed.
petit peu
And I
dans
think
le
that there
passé,
is a lot to
dans
be
le
done on that
sens
front
que,
in Cameroon.
oui,
We
dans
still
le temps,
live
on revient par
on
exemple à
our
la Coupe des
past successes.
Confédérations
If you
en
go back
2003.
to the Confederations Cup
Mais là,
of
vous avez une
2003,
génération de joueurs qui
now
jouaient dans
you
des grands clubs
have
en Europe.
a
Real de
generation
Madrid,
of
Inter Milan,
players who are
Liverpool,
playing in Europe, in
pour en
Real
citer
Madrid,
quelques-uns.
in Inter
Vous n'avez
Milan,
plus
in
ça pour
Liverpool,
le
just
moment.
to quote a few.
Et c'est
And this is
certainement
no
pas un
longer the
reproche aux
case
joueurs,
at the
mais c'est
moment.
surtout un
And I
reproche
am not
à la formation
accusing any
au
player here.
Cameroun.
I am
Pourquoi?
just
Encore une fois, et je pense que je l'ai déjà dit, il
pointing
y a une manque
to the training issues
de
in
terrain,
Cameroon.
il y a un
Why?
manque
I've already said
d'infrastructures
it. There
dans
is
ce
a lack
pays,
of
et
pitches,
c'est presque
there is a lack
impossible
of
sur le
infrastructure in the
terrain
country,
que vous
which is
trouvez au
why
Cameroun
it is
de vraiment former
impossible
des
in
grands
some
joueurs ou des bons
cases
joueurs
in
ou des joueurs pour
Cameroon
le football
pitches
moderne.
to train
Donc je pense que
good
c'est ça surtout
football players
notre
for modern
désavantage.
football. So
Et
this is
c'est
our
là aussi
main
pour
disadvantage.
si on se qualifie pour la Coupe du Monde de l'année
If
prochaine,
we do
là aussi on
qualify
doit
for the World
commencer
Cup
à
next
penser
year,
comment
we
on
are
va
going
résoudre
to
ce
have to
problème
start
pour le
thinking
futur.
about solving this problem for the future.
Hello, Ian Herbert from the UK. Could I ask just for just one more piece of clarification about the VAR issue? Are you saying that originally the referee sent off the wrong player or booked the wrong player? It looked as if he booked the wrong player, and it was only a yellow, and the VAR said red, not yellow.
Because you're answering again the question, I think everyone is confused, also me. I didn't know what happened there. First of all, I saw a red card, then it was a yellow card, then he came to the jury next to the pitch, then he went again to the player, then he went again a red card for another player. So don't ask me what really happens. For me, it's only something. It's also something that I didn't understand, and I don't understand it for the moment either. So I have to see again what happens on television, and maybe then I can answer your question. But I think this is something for the referee himself. He and he alone can explain what happens there at that moment.
Татьяна Киреева, Интерфакс. У меня такой вопрос. Что вы думаете об организации матчей Кубка Конфедерации в России? Как вам российская инфраструктура? И что вас удивило в Сочи?
And what has come as the most surprising thing here that you saw in Sochi? Thank you.
Premièrement, c'est pas seulement ici à Sochi, mais aussi
First of all,
à
it's
Moscou
not just here in
et
Sochi, but
à
also in
Saint-Pétersbourg.
Moscow
Ce sont
and
les
in
stades.
St. Petersburg
Ce sont vraiment
that
des
I
très beaux
was
stades, des stades de
surprised by
football.
the stadia. The
Parce
stadia
que
are
parfois vous avez
beautiful
un très beau
stadia.
stade, mais
They
c'est
are
pas vraiment un
proper
stade de
football
football
stadia
ici.
because
Les
sometimes
stades
you
que
have
moi
a
j'ai vus
beautiful stadium, but
et
it's
où
not
on a
really a
joué
football
sont vraiment
stadium.
des stades de
Here,
football.
the
Il y a une
stadia
bonne
that I've
ambiance.
seen, the stadia where we've
Les
played are
joueurs, même
really
les joueurs m'ont
football
dit
stadia. There is a good
on
atmosphere, and
aime de
even the
jouer dans des
players
stades
have told
pareils.
me we
Donc
do
dans ce
like to
sens-là,
play in
c'est
such
impeccable.
stadia. So
Aussi le
from
terrain
that point of
d'entraînement,
view, it's
ils sont
impeccable.
très bons. Donc
Same
il n'y a
for
aucune
the
plainte
training
de ma
pitches.
part.
They are excellent pitches. You will have no complaints from me. The organization is excellent. From that point of view, we have no complaints, and except, and once again, I will repeat the same thing, you will have to think again about the transport from hotels to training pitches, because we started on 3 different occasions our training sessions 1 hour late because we were stuck in traffic, even though we had a police escort. So I don't understand that. From that point of view, I must say that it must be reviewed and it must be sorted out, because in a year's time, when the World Cup will be here, teams should not be stuck for an hour in the bus before reaching their training pitch. The problem is not that you start your training session 1 hour late. It's because everything then is pushed back. Though at some point, for example, we had dinner at 10 o'clock at night, and that's much too late because everything is being pushed back. So that is my experience here, and is the only complaint that I have when it comes to the organization.
Okay, thank you. We'll just have now the press conference of Germany with Coach Joachim Loh, just starting a few minutes from now. Thank you, Coach, and have a safe trip back home.
Thank you.